The Legacy Center provides one-on-one tutoring in adult basic education, English as a second language, and reading with dyslexia. I'm Christy Klein. I work at the Legacy Center for the Community Success here in Midland, and I manage our student reading program. This program matches volunteer tutors with people who struggle to read. They meet twice a week and work through our curriculum, the Barton Reading and Spelling program. Today, I am joined by 3 of our learners. Why don't you introduce yourselves? Danny?
I'm Danny.
And what grade are you in?
I'm in 8th grade.
At what school?
Meridian.
And how long have you been tutoring?
Ever since 6th grade.
So about 2 years. Okay.
Hello, I am Zach, and I go to Bullet Creek, and I've been tutoring since I was in 2nd grade.
And what grade are you in now?
8th.
Great.
I'm Jessica. I go to Coleman. Been tutoring for 2 years, and I'm in 9th grade.
Awesome. So, when did you guys first realize you had trouble with reading? Jessica, when do you think you first remember struggling with reading?
Probably 7th grade when everyone could read better than me, and I was still behind.
Yeah. How did you know you were behind?
The longer words in history class, everyone else could read, and I'd have trouble with it.
Okay. Danny, when do you first remember having trouble?
Ever since 2nd grade when the teachers thought I was mixing up stuff.
Yeah, like sounds or letters or what?
When my dyslexia came in.
Yeah, that's when it started to happen. Yeah. What about you, Zach? Do you ever remember not struggling to read?
No.
No. Yeah, Zach, you were identified pretty early, so.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah.
1st grade. My 1st grade teacher was like,
What is this? So, Zach, I know you were so young when you started tutoring that you probably don't remember trying to read without tutoring.
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah? What was that like? So before you started tutoring, what was that like?
Well, see, in 1st grade, they had these reading level groups.
Oh, reading level groups. You guys remember
basically,
those, right?
you had this basket, and there would be an activity in there, and you'd have volunteers come in every day, and for an hour, you go into your reading group.
Yeah.
And I remember, we did this for about 3 weeks, and then on the 3rd week, which was our last week of doing this, I was still in group 1, and most of the people were in group 4 or 5. 1st grade teacher was like, let's see what's going on. She originally suggested that I be held back to kindergarten, but my parents were probably like, no.
Yeah.
No, we know exactly what's going on.
Right. Danny, do you remember what was life like before tutoring?
It was really, really hard.
Yeah.
When I would read, I would always have to go back 2 pages to understand what is going on.
Yeah.
Because usually when I read stuff instructions and stuff, I don't really get it.
Right. Jessie, what do you remember?
It was hard. I didn't remember what I just read after I read it.
Yeah. So now your comprehension's better, and you police yourselves a little bit better on doing things. Dyslexia is an unexpected difficulty in reading. It is neurological in origin. So we haven't mentioned specifically the word dyslexia, but this difficulty with reading probably is dyslexia in some shape or form. So do you talk about that with your friends? Do they understand that, or do you keep it to yourself? Danny?
I would usually tell people because we mostly do group work, and they would think that I'm kind of weird because I mix stuff up, and then they would ask me about it, and then I'll tell them it's dyslexia, and they'll kind of feel bad for me, so I kind of feel bad.
Yeah, but it's an explanation that they don't know of why things are the way they are with you, right? Yeah. What about you, Zach? Do you talk about it?
Some people know. I don't think, only the people that actually care really know. Why tell somebody when they don't care?
Right.
But,
if they're not your good friend or something. Yeah.
So my good friends know that I have dyslexia.
Yeah.
They understand what it is. Originally they thought, oh, you just see words backwards. I'm like, no, that's not how it is.
Yeah.
It's just, it's harder for me to process the words.
Yeah.
In a quicker way.
Right.
So can't process them as quickly as other people can.
Yeah.
We have a group that goes out to do specific work, so sometimes they'll ask me, why do you go out there? So I just explain to them what it is and why I do it.
Yeah, yeah. Because sometimes you have to go out and take a little extra time or get something read to you. Yeah, good. So, Jessica, you've been tutoring with the Legacy Center for 2 years?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and how often do you meet with your tutor?
Every week, twice a week.
Twice a week, every week. Okay. And is that a pretty militant schedule? Do you have to be there, or do you have some flexibility with it?
Flexibility.
Yeah, it's flexible. Yeah. How about you, Danny?
We do it every Monday and Thursday,
Yeah.
and I've been doing kind of good, and then some things are kind of going down.
So, schedule-wise or reading-wise? What do you mean?
Like reading,
Yeah. So, what's been going well?
like units and trying to sound out some words.
Yeah. So you're getting better at sounding out those big words. And a unit is, who remembers what a unit is?
There's three letters at the end of a word.
Yeah. That make an unusual sound. So, do you think we should quiz Zach and Jesse and see if they remember what a unit is?
I don't know.
Does anybody remember one?
Quiz her.
With him.
Okay, so it's the red tiles, the ing, ang, ungs.
And ink.
Inks, yep, and the unks, and the alls. All's the first one y'all learn. You all remember all, right? Okay, good, good. So Zach, you've been done tutoring for a couple years.
2 years.
2 years now. Zach finished in 6th grade. So, what do you? I've always wanted to ask Zach this question. So, what do you still use from tutoring when you read?
The whole going back thing, that was a big thing. Like,
Yeah?
the whole going back thing.
What do you mean going back? What's that?
Like, if I would mess up, you'd be like, no, go back.
Oh, so you have to stop yourself
Yep.
when you stop understanding what you're reading.
Especially a book, that in like an argument paragraph or something like that.
Yeah?
I use that all the time.
Make yourself go back and reread it. Yeah.
Yep.
Do you have problems with that, Jessica? Do you have to
Yes.
reread? Yeah. So, what's your clue? How far do you go before you decide to go back and reread something?
Finish the sentence, and if I still don't understand it, then reread it again.
Yeah. And how many times do you have to do that, do you think, sometimes?
Maybe 2 or 3.
Yeah? At least 2 or 3 times. Yeah? Danny, do you have to do that?
Yeah.
Yeah? Makes it reading go a lot slower than it normally would, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So how many times do you have to reread, Danny, do you think?
Probably twice or 3 times.
Yeah. So 2 or 3 times as long to read when you get to things that don't make sense, right? Now, so what's the best thing that about tutoring? Like when you actually meet and when you're tutoring, what do you enjoy the most?
Probably doing the activities.
Yeah. So what kind of activities do you guys do?
Like sometimes you have to like match some words together
Mhm.
and try to put like lines to them.
Okay. When you're actually making sentences up and matching words up, that yeah. And the sheets at the end when you're doing the review sheets. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Those worksheets that look exactly like a school worksheet, right? Some of those are. Okay. Zach?
Another thing that I liked when I did do tutoring was the time where you just like read a book or something
Yeah.
and actually practice what we were learning
Right.
in
Right.
action.
Yep. So we would stop the lesson for the day and just read to each other.
Yep, that was good.
Yep. That's always a good thing. Yeah.
Being able to understand what I'm doing and understand where the words are coming from and what they mean.
Yeah. Yeah. So you don't just gloss over them anymore. You stop and try and understand what they mean now. Yeah. So we talked about rereading things. What else? Is there anything that you notice you do differently now than you did before you started tutoring? Zach, is there anything you...
Well, before I started tutoring, I was like really, really bad at reading. Now I'm pretty decent at it.
Yeah. Yeah. Anybody else? What do you notice that you do differently?
Usually once I do like assignments and stuff, it's like really hard to spell, and we used to do everything almost on paper.
Yeah?
And sometimes I'll get it so messed up that the teachers can't even read when I'm writing.
Yeah.
But now they could finally understand it.
They can. That's awesome. And are you still writing by hand, or are you
We're
using?
doing computer and writing on paper.
Yeah. Okay. Which do you prefer?
Computer.
Yeah. Spell check is awesome. Jessica, what do you think you do differently now?
Reading is easier, and
Yeah.
I like to do it more than I used to.
So you actually read for fun when you don't have to?
Yes.
Wow, which you never did before.
No.
No. That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. So I want to talk a little bit about what you guys do differently in school. So what are some things you do differently now because of what you learned from tutoring? We talked about rereading more. You talked about spelling. Is there anything you do differently now than you used to?
I can like sound out the words better.
Yeah.
Like instead of just like trying to sound them out and make it like all wacky, I could just like put it into syllables and finally like read it gently.
And understand why it's written like that. Yeah. Anybody else?
I'll read more in front of the class now because I'm better at it and
You'll read out loud
understand
now?
words.
Yeah. And you got some more confidence up about that. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Zach?
I do the same thing she does, where I read out loud
Yeah.
and other things like that.
Yeah.
But mostly, I like reread everything and make sure I get it right.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
that's something I still do, but also it's something that's kind of changed because I don't have to reread as much as I used to.
You don't have to reread multiple times,
Yes.
but you still make sure you go back and got it. Yeah. These students average 2 years of reading gain for every year of tutoring. What else is different about school now that you've been through some tutoring? Anything?
I've been reading a lot faster,
Yeah?
and so, because usually they'll mark you down, because usually we used to have like these calendar sheets where we have to write down page to page that we
Okay.
read,
Oh, right.
and usually once you read too fast, they think that you're skipping pages,
Mm-hmm.
but if you read too slow, they'll think that you're like dazing off, looking at other things, talking to other people,
Okay.
and usually I'll get bad grades for that.
Yeah. And now?
And now I'm like average.
Yeah? Great. Anything else, Jessica?
Usually I wouldn't like to read in front of the class or alone at all,
Yeah.
and now I like doing it. It's easier.
Yeah. Good.
Something that's changed for me is that I will read more confidently in front of other people. Like I used to just be like, nope, no, I'm not gonna read.
Right.
But
right.
now it's just like, okay, I'll read.
Yeah. Dyslexia is a lifelong condition. With the right tutoring and accommodations, success is possible. What about technology? So we talked about typing and spell check. Do you guys prefer to use computers when you write things, or do you prefer to handwrite?
Probably computers, because you could finally like when you write something and you make a mistake, you could like see what your mistake was.
Yeah, it automatically tells you that you misspelled it. Yeah. And do you have a computer that you use every day during school?
Mhm.
Are you on a laptop all the time at school?
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Zach? What do you guys? Do you prefer to type or to write?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not very good at typing.
You're
but
still, yeah.
writing
typing.
is just easier in my opinion, and I've
Yeah.
gotten a lot better at spelling, so it's not as difficult.
Okay.
It's not like I got this word wrong and this word wrong.
Yeah. There might just only be one or two.
Yep.
Yeah. What about you,
I
Jesse?
like to write better because I can't type very good either.
You're not a good typer yet.
No.
No. And do you have a computer that you use every day at school?
No.
You don't have a one-to-one device at school. And Zach, do you have a device at school?
Yes.
Yeah.
They have them in different classes though.
Okay.
And you have a number for each class. Like I'm number 19 in like 5th L, I'm pretty sure.
So you can, for those classes that you need a computer, you
You
can
go get the cart.
can
You
go
go
use
get
it.
one out of a cart.
Okay. What about audiobooks? Do you guys ever listen to your homework or listen to a book for fun instead of reading it?
All the time.
Do you?
Yeah, I've gone through major series like Harry Potter, Ranger's Apprentice, and The Hunger Games on audiobook, and it was
Okay.
just fun.
And where do you get your audiobooks?
Here, actually, I get them at the Gracie Dow Library.
Awesome. Jessica.
No, I like reading it better because then if I don't understand it, I can go back and reread it.
Yeah, right, right. And Danny?
Homework assignments and stuff, I usually go to the ASC, which is the Academic Support Center,
Yeah?
and they usually read stuff to you.
Okay, so they have people at your school that will read the textbooks. Yeah. But nobody uses audio textbooks. You guys don't use an audio version of your textbook. Yeah.
No.
Okay, good to know, good to know. How about your perception of yourself or what you want to do in school or after school? Has that changed at all, or are you still thinking you're going to do the same types of things you thought you were going to do a couple years ago before you started tutoring?
I think it would probably change
Yeah?
because I have been reading like really, really bad, and I've been trying to like read better
Mm-hmm.
to get better at it,
Yeah.
and then I finally did.
Yeah. And are you scared about going into high school next year, knowing that you have this and... No. You got it under control and you can handle your high school classes now.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. Good. That's a good confidence builder. Awesome. What about Zach? I haven't talked to Zach in a long time. I used to be Zach's tutor. So what are you planning on doing? Like, what do you want to study and what kind of stuff do you want to do in high school?
In high school, wood shop will be my thing.
Yeah?
I'm not really into band, and
Mhm.
English is going to be hard, so I'm probably just going to take normal English, not accelerated English.
Yeah.
English, not whatever I said.
Yeah.
But that's about it. I'm pretty confident I'll be able to do this because I've been out of the Barton system for 2 years now.
Yeah.
And if you guys let me go back in 6th grade, I'll be fine.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good. Jessica, what are your plans? You're in high school.
I'm in band and that's fun, so plan on staying in that and going into yearbook next year.
Sweet. That's great. Volunteer tutors make individual success possible. What questions do you guys have for me? Do you have questions for me you want to ask me about anybody else in the program or what we do or anything?
How many schools are willing to take in the tutors, or like most of them, or like some of them just don't have their own system and they don't want you guys coming in and like doing
So we are tutoring students from as far away as Mount Pleasant and as far east as Bay City. Most of them we meet after school. Lots of them here in Midland, and then if it works out, we meet at buildings, school buildings or community buildings between here and there. So like the people who are out Mount Pleasant way, we meet out at West Midland Family Center, and then we meet, you guys all know, there's lots of people here tutoring at the Grace A. Dow, and we meet out at the Auburn Library a lot too. So, and then a couple churches around town. So we'll take students from any school, but most schools we don't tutor during the day, right? So Zach's school, we could tutor like right at the end of the day or right at the beginning of the day. But I know Danny and Jessica's schools, you guys come in the evening, right, after school. So it just all depends. But most school buildings, like as soon as the day's over, they'll let a tutor in and have a room. So that works out pretty good. What other questions do you have for me? Anything? No? Well, I want to thank you all for coming and giving us your time. I appreciate you being brave enough to come out and to tell people kind of how it is with tutoring and how much it means to you. Anybody want to give a shout out to their tutor?
Mrs. Klein.
I was a tutor for a long time. Danny, your tutor is?
Sandy, she's really awesome and nice.
Awesome.
She encourages me to do stuff.
Yeah.
Mrs. Ross.
Yeah. You guys have been together for a long time, through thick and thin. Yeah. Well, thank you all for coming, and I really appreciate it, and we look forward to seeing you around and having you come back and tell us all of the glory days that you've done and accomplished and everything like that. Welcome back. Thanks for joining us. We've been joined by another learner from the Legacy Center's tutoring program, and her name's Carissa. I'll let her tell you about herself.
I'm Krissa. I go to Dow High. I'm in 9th grade, and really, I just enjoy tutoring. It's a lot of fun for me.
That's great. So how long have you been tutoring?
I've been tutoring for about 1.5 years now.
Great. So you started in middle school.
Yeah, I did.
When did you first notice that you had trouble with reading?
It was probably way before middle school when I realized that everybody else was a little more adept at reading, especially my sister. I noticed that she was reading a lot thicker books than me, and I was getting kind of paranoid.
So when you started tutoring, what changed? What did you notice?
I noticed that I was able to get a lot more fluent at the reading. I was able to understand more words.
Mm-hmm.
It was clicking a lot better.
Good, good. What techniques do you use at school that tutoring taught you?
Mostly I use word chunking. I definitely use context clues. Like, we're doing Romeo and Juliet in school right now.
Yeah.
And the language, it's been driving me nuts because at the beginning I didn't understand half of it, and now I've been able to use the context clues and understand what the words mean.
Mm-hmm. Great, great. What types of things do you use on a daily basis from tutoring that maybe you didn't have access to or didn't know about before?
Again, it was probably the word chunking, understanding different rules and everything.
Yeah.
I've seen it. Like, I'll see a word like in the grocery store or something that I don't understand, and I'll just go right into word chunking it without even realizing it.
So it's just automatic now.
It's automatic now.
That's great. What we talked earlier in the earlier segment about whether you preferred to type or write by hand when you were spelling and had to answer things. What do you prefer?
I prefer to type because I'm just a lot faster at typing.
Yeah.
With writing, it's kind of sloppy and it's not as good, but I definitely prefer typing. It's a lot easier for me.
And do you have a device that you use every day at school so you can type in any class?
Yeah, I have a laptop, and we are allowed to bring them home, so that helps a lot with a lot of my studies.
Okay. And do you use audiobooks at all in any of your classes?
I don't. I didn't know you could have audiobooks. But I really don't need it anymore. But I have done a few audiobooks before I started tutoring, and it helped a little bit, but it still wasn't clicking as well as it does now.
And do you still use your accommodations, like taking extra time on a test or having things read to you?
Yes, I do use that.
Yeah.
I definitely allow people to read the test to me, and at the beginning I felt like kind of self-conscious about it because not many other people did it. So I kind of shrunk at first, but now I just do it with utter confidence and don't worry about it.
It's part of what it is, right?
Yeah.
Right. So what's your understanding of your dyslexia?
My understanding is that I get words and numbers mixed up. I'll just write a random letter for some reason. So that's really the main thing that happens with my dyslexia. With the spelling, I'm able to put rules together and understand, no, that doesn't go there.
Now you know why.
Yes.
Right. How much are you reading now? Do you read for fun?
I read for fun all the time now.
Yeah.
I'm getting into the more teen section books. Like, when I first got here 4 years ago, I was still in the kids section, and I was like, this isn't where I'm supposed to be.
Right.
But then I started reading the upper level books, and I definitely got more into the reading as I went on, and it got a lot better.
That's great. That's great. So we're going to wrap it up here. You want to give a shout out to your tutor and say thanks?
Yeah, thank you, Miss Sharon. It's been so much help. Thank you so much. It's amazing.
Great. Well, we're glad you're here. We look forward to great things coming from you as you finish your career at Dow. For more information about the Reading with Dyslexia program or becoming a volunteer tutor, Visit tlc4cs.org.